Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my partner Matt with me. And today we're going to go over some Blackhawks news, and we're going to talk about some not much NHL news, but we're going to talk about some defensemen, a top 10 D-men in the league. I was on Instagram at the Daily Dose Hockey, and they released 4 of their top 10 list for D-men. They're interesting. Me and Matt are going to go over them. And it's from Daily Dose Hockey, All Hockey Culture, NYR Fanatics, and the Mug NHL. They have 4 lists here. We're going to go over them. All right. So first off, Connor Bedard signed his entry-level contract on his 18th birthday. Hey, Matt, is there a rule that says that he has to wait until he's 18 years old to sign that contract?
I don't know, man. I really, I never really heard of a 17-year-old signing a deal. Maybe it was like an adult type of thing. They would probably have to get like co-signers maybe, but maybe they just wanted to play it safe.
Yeah, his dad was there.
Maybe they wanted to play it safe, and it's kind of cool. They waited on his birthday, and they made a big deal about it, which they should, because he's supposed to be the next generational guy. And it's cool to see his dad and his mom, and I believe it was his sister there, and it's a good birthday present, man. Hey, you're gonna make $950,000 with the Blackhawks for the next 3 years, and you're probably gonna make more with sponsorships, which I think he already has something with that Bio Steel or whatever.
He's got one with
and
Sherwood.
I believe he's going to probably doing some car dealers, Hawk Ford, the new face of Hawk Ford or Hawk Chevy, taking over Kane and Taylor's spot or something like that. But he's gonna be making some good money for the next 3 years, and then 3 years after that, oh man, it's gonna go from rookie entry to Jack Hughes, like maybe $9 million, $10 million a year. Just
he's
so
gonna be
that
making a
could
lot
be
more
the
than
minimum at 10, but. I did see something interesting. There is a prediction. They're saying he possibly could score 30. I think it was 32 goals is the over under whatever they were talking about. I think he's gonna go over, man. I think he's gonna hit 35. I do.
Really?
I think he's just a natural shooter, and he's gonna be playing with Reichel probably, which is exciting. Probably going to have a skilled guy like Taylor Hall who's going to help him. I think he's going to hit 35 for sure.
Okay. I was actually thinking 30 goals, 40 assists, possibly.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a lot of assists. He's going to get a lot of power play time. You got to look at all that stuff. He's going to PP1. He'll be on the first line. He's going to be surrounded with some good wingers, which is good. Seth Jones probably will play with him on the power play, which, he could put up good assists too. And I think Connor's going to be the finisher, which is going to be awesome, man. Super excited.
I'll be honest, man. I think Seth Jones is a weak point on the power play when they have him quarterbacking it. I think his passing has much to be desired.
His shooting is not bad when he does shoot it.
His shooting is not. His passing. When they're moving the puck around, he makes me freaking nervous, man. I think that probably Reichel's going to be a quarterback on that power play. Possibly.
Could be.
But but I think they're going to want Connor in a position to shoot.
Definitely, and Taylor Hall. Who we haven't talked about much, which I kind of feel bad, is Radish. I think Radish is going to get.
Yep.
I think he's going to benefit with Connor Bedard too. If they, flip flop lines and stuff and try to work something out, or spread the depth around, but
spread the love.
But that's another guy. He was saying like he's really excited. I don't know if you've seen. I saw a story with him saying since he's been in Chicago, they've been so good to him with playing time and giving him chances to show what like his worth and he says, now we got like the next one coming in. And he's like, I'm so excited to be a part of it. And you know what? I think Chicago might be that team again, where it's going to be a free agency, desired city, which is fun because man, for years it was just, we were getting like the D-listers of free agency. And then Brian Campbell signs and Hosta signs. We're getting the A-listers, man. And kind of died down after, maybe 2013, guys weren't really interested in it, and now it seems like it's going to be like that again. And we got some good supporting cast though for Connor for his first 3 years. I mean, Nick Foligno. I think Corey Perry might stick around for another year. I could see if it works out, which is good, man, because he's going to need all the leadership. He's got to learn from these guys, and I think we got some good leaders around him that are going to get him ready, probably for when they award him the C.
Yeah, Nick Foligno was in he had a really good interview with the NBC Sports Chicago, and he was talking about how he wants to create a safe space for Connor, essentially like letting him know, like, hey, come in and be yourself. And this is a new team, and we're all here to make everybody better, and we're here to bond. And this isn't like he's coming into like a new team, and it's like, okay, new kid, we're all going to be hazing you and shit like that, and it sounds like he's looking to create a very good culture and atmosphere in this new locker room, man. And I think he's the right guy for the job, man. Just for a lot of things that he's saying. He's like, I can't. I'm not in a position where I can chase cups. So I'm here to play with the next generational player. And you know what? That's a pretty great position to be in. He's pretty positive on it. I would imagine someone who's been in the league for 16 years is looking to get that cup. I think he still has something to offer. And, he's looking to show this kid how to be a professional, Corey Perry as well. But, I think Foligno is going to be a really big part of establishing the pulse of the team on, hey, this is kind of how we do things. Taves isn't there anymore. Kaner's not there anymore. They don't have anything, no holdovers from the Cup era, from the Dynasty era. So they have to start something new. And how about a guy who has shown that he could be a leader on, essentially every team that he's played on. So I think that he's a really good signing, man. Maybe in a few years, when the Hawks are really competing, that maybe they can hook him up with a deal and they can go on a deep cup run.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we started recording. But yeah, I mean, if this guy, say Connor wins a cup with the Hawks, I guarantee you his one of the first guys he's gonna think is like Nick Foligno. Like guys always say, hey, this guy was so good to me in the locker room, on the road, showing me the ropes. I think Taves credited Marty LaPointe when he was winning cups and getting interviewed about leadership, and he says this guy was right next to me and I took it in and he showed me the ropes, and I owe him a lot. And you could see that with Connor Bedard, Nick Foligno could be that guy like you were saying. And he's been a captain. He's I think he was a captain for the Blue Jackets for the longest time. And
yeah, he was.
John Tortorella loved him. And that guy doesn't like too many people. So
no, he doesn't.
Shows you he's playing the game right. He's going to hold his guys accountable, and he's going to push his teammates to be the best they can be. And that's all you can ask for at a guy this age. He's just going to make sure guys are showing up to work, and he's going to protect this kid, which is what we need. I mean, I honestly think we need more of these guys. Corey Perry's a good pickup. I think I saw a video of him meeting Connor. I think it was at the Fifth Third practice arena. Corey Perry's son. He's a youngster. He wanted to meet Connor Bedard, I'm sure.
Oh, right.
And it's cool.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Corey Perry's always been the guy you just hated. You hate this guy, this freaking guy in the Ducks. Look at his face. He looks like Andy from Toy Story. His face just bugs me. But he's a good hockey player. He gets under your skin. He scores big goals, and he's like the guy who's always dominating against Chicago teams. And later in his career, he comes up, comes back and to play with the team, and like a Jim Edmonds. When he came to the Cubs after all those years of dominating with the freaking Cardinals and stuff. Yeah,
the Cardinals.
Corey Perry, he's older, but I think he's going to bring a lot to this team and a lot to Connor. So, I still think we need a guy like like a Bobby Probert still. Just
We
as
could have used
insurance.
Lucic.
Yeah, I thought that would have been great. I know there was a lot of talk with him. I think he did an interview and said, I think he was with John Scott actually. He was talking about Kyle Davidson was talking to Lucic. Man, they were really close. He said, but Boston came calling and he just had to follow his heart and stuff, which I respect. You know, he won your cup there. You were drafted there. You want to go back, but it would be pretty cool that if he kind of would be his like guardian for a while, because don't forget he was Connor McDavid's pretty much right hand man for a while there, and then it's like, oh man, this guy's making a lot of money. He ain't doing shit, so they had to trade him.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's actually pretty reassuring to hear that Davidson was spinning the wheels on him. You know, that, you know, Davidson seems to be making the right moves, man. You know, like this guy's doing his own thing, seems to be making the right moves. I really like what I hear about him.
Yeah, he's a really likable guy. I mean, at first he wasn't probably my first choice as a GM. But you know what? He kind of laid it all out there saying, hey, this is my plan. And you know what? He's living up to it. I think I was pretty disappointed with the Brinkat trade. I will admit it. But I am happy that we got a guy like Kevin Korchinski, which is huge. I think he was Defenseman of the Year in the WAHL. And that's huge. And look at Ottawa. They lost to Brinkat. They lost their first round pick.
Oh
they don't have anything to show for
that.
It. And that could have been their guy. You know, those sting, man. Those moves sting. Like, we don't got anything now. Come on.
Yeah.
But I still think it would be pretty cool, you know, to see DeBrincat and Connor Bedard play together. You know, it would be cool.
Would you relate Ottawa to, you know, just having a bad vision, you know, bad ownership, you know, that was kind of up in the air? Do you think that all played a part in pretty much all this falling apart?
I just think Ottawa is the Nashville North. You know, it's just
or Columbus.
I honestly would rather play for Columbus. I just honestly I like the management better. The fans seem like they're hardcore. They support the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Ottawa, I can't keep. I feel bad for Brady Tkachuk, man. He's such a good player.
Yeah.
It's like, and you're playing on a Canadian team. Like, to an American kid, it's not a big deal like it is to Canadian kids. I always hear, like, Roenick even said, like, it doesn't mean much to the American kid. They want to play. And these Canadian kids are always like, I want to play for a Canadian team, you know, before I retire. I have to cross it off my bucket list or whatever. But I think DeBrincat, it didn't mean anything to him. Like, it's like you got Toronto and you got freaking Montreal. And if I'm playing in Canada, I'm playing for one of those two teams. I don't want to play for Ottawa or Winnipeg or, I'm sorry, I don't want to play for Calgary.
Edmonton.
I don't want to, or Vancouver. I would never want to play for that freaking city just because of bad blood.
You know, yeah, that's true. Vancouver's not a bad city though.
Yeah, I just don't. The hockey team, I've always hated them. Even if I wasn't a Hawks fan, I would still hate them. I just hate the way that they used to play. Like against, I think 2011 against Boston, they play like the biggest assholes. Those guys and the biggest shit talking cocky douchebags. And it's like, dude.
But that was like 12 years ago.
I know, but the only guy I know there is freaking Quinn Hughes, and he's another guy that's going to rot away. That team's not going to be.
Yeah, he is.
But DeBrincat, I think the writing was on the wall. He wanted to play for Detroit or here. He might have wanted. He could have came back, I think, but Kyle pretty much made it clear, like, it ain't going to happen. So go to Detroit, play with your buddy Dylan Larkin.
Yeah. You know, thinking about Canadian teams, I don't think that it would be like, say, if I got traded to Vancouver, I'd be like, okay, well, at least I'm not in Edmonton.
Yeah, but Edmonton, you're going to make money because you're on the same team as Connor McDavid, you know?
Yeah, but once the game is over, where you spend 99% of your time, you know, Edmonton isn't like a great place to hang out.
There's a lot of negativity about just going there to play on an away game too. I think Pat Foley said, you go to the airport, you got a 2-hour drive to the city or something. He was
really?
saying. He's like, he said
See what
he
I
couldn't
mean?
do it anymore. He's like, I couldn't do it. And he's like, I just hope to God we never play them in the playoffs. He's like, I couldn't go there. Out to a best of 7 series, going back and forth and doing all that. I'm pretty sure it was Pat Foley in an interview. And he just said it was just a brutal, just a brutal way to do it. It was just hard to go there. As a broadcaster, he said, couldn't even imagine being a player. It's a long flights.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to Florida today. Oh, God. I hope we get them over with and just play the Panthers and Tampa so we don't have to go back,
Yeah. 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 And that's exactly my point. Why would you want to go and play for Edmonton? And on top of that, it's like, it gets to like 20, 30 below down there.
Yeah. Well, out of all 3 Western Canadian teams, I know I just said like all that negativity about it, but like for me, if I got to be on Connor McDavid's team, and even if I'm not playing with them, like the team's winning and you're successful in the season, I know you're not that successful in the playoffs, but a lot of guys might say, hey, this is my chance to get some more money because I'm on a really good season team and I could get an extra couple million maybe if I'm lucky, some more term. I think a lot of guys do that, but I just couldn't play for Vancouver. I couldn't. I don't even. Yeah. I'm not a big Flames guy either. I couldn't. I'd have to pick the Oilers just because of the Connor and Leon effect.
Yeah. Well, Blackhawks and Philip Kurashev are far apart on contract talks. I wonder what's going on there, man. Because if I was Kurashev,
I heard he's pushing for $3 million, and you look at his numbers. He's got like 25 points in 3 years. Come on, man. His agent's crazy.
Yeah, I got to look at that. Hold on. Let me look at Kurashev's stats here. He's asking for 3.
Like I said, man, his rookie year, he showed a lot. Like he was a puck hound, man, on those boards. He'd come out, win the board battles, and then I think they sent him down last year, and he lit it up down there, and then he came back up, he scored, and then he was 10 games without a goal. It's just I don't think he is. Yeah, he's not worth anything more than $2 million. And $2 million's very high.
Okay. He had 25 points last year on a very bad team. 9 goals, 16 assists. Let me see here. So his first season, 54 games, 8 goals, 8 assists, -9. His second season, 67 games, 6 goals, 15 assists, 21 points, -16, bad team. 2022, last year, 70 games, 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points. So he's gone up. He's gone up in points every single season. His plus minus has gone up as well.
You can't even,
in a bad way.
Go by those plus minus with this team.
I know. I'm just
saying.
I'm joking.
You can't ask for anything more than $2 million.
You know what, man? This is a different league now, man. $3 million's not a lot of money for how much they're giving people.
Man, I wouldn't give this guy.
Darnell Nurse is making $9 million.
He puts up more points than Kurashev will ever put up.
Yeah, that's true, but
defense,
I mean, I think he can also be a detriment to his team at the same time.
He also cashed in when the defensemen were getting paid. It was a good move and good timing for him. Kurashev,
I don't think $3 million is bad for the Blackhawks in where they are right now as a team. The money that they have,
honestly,
like anybody,
like a veteran out there. I'd rather pay him the money for the experience and maybe a guy who's tougher to play against, like more of a grinder guy. I think they want Kurashev to be a skill guy, and he's not a finisher. He can't do it. I think they're putting him in the wrong roles. He's not gonna be that third line guy, that chipping guy, and just grind away. Right. He's not that guy. He's got to play with top dudes, and he's not going to play with top guys now because there's look at the team. We actually have some good players. We got that Ryan Donato. We got Lucas Reichel. Tyler Johnson's a skilled guy. Taylor Hall. Corey Perry could play both ways. Nick Foligno will probably be a top 6 guy just because he's got a job to do, obviously. And Connor's going to put up good numbers, but Tyler Radish, where is he going to play, dude? I would just let him go. Get your rating on your arbitration, whatever. If they say, hey, yeah, you're worth this, the Hawks don't have to pay him. They can say, okay, good luck getting it. I don't think anyone's going to pay him.
I'd rather play Radish than Kurashev. The problem is Kurashev shows these flashes.
He does.
And if he could just tie it together, man, he could be a really great player.
He had a beautiful no-look pass to a guy. I forget. It might have been Reichel. And it was a beautiful no-look. It looked like he was taking the shot for sure. He sold the shot, made a beautiful pass, throws the goalie, wide open net.
Empty netter.
And that was a great play. And then, you don't see it for the next 15 games. You just see a guy who gets the puck, loses the puck, makes a change,
falls down.
Same every 30-second shifts. It's like, come on, man, do something.
Yeah. Oh, before we go any further, I got to let everybody know that new customers can make a $5 bet and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resorts, Kansas, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms. Now, Matt, let's talk about Vince Dunn signs a 4-year, $29.4 million contract with the Kraken. Obviously, that was going to happen. Do you think the Blues are hurting from this?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. The Blues have been very weird lately. I thought the Blues were going to be good last year, and they shit the bed. They ended up, moving Ryan O'Reilly. They moved Tarasenko. And they pretty much kind of rebuilding on the fly type of thing. They did stack up on some picks. Still going to be tough to play against, I think, but Vince Dunn is a good, I don't want to say he's like an offensive defenseman, but he's a guy that he could play D. He could shut you down too. So I guess you could say he's a solid two-way guy. I think last year he was a plus 30, I want to say, plus 28. And he put in 50 assists, man, on the Kraken. That was just a great team, man. They made a lot of noise last year. And the Kraken, I think, what was the term? 4 years?
Yeah, it was 4-year, $29.4 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be their guy in the back end for a while, which is smart. I think he's young. I think he's 26 years old. Yeah, the Blues are definitely, that was a tough one for them. And honestly, if you knew Tarasenko was on a short leash, you should probably, well, actually, they didn't protect him. The Kraken just refused. They didn't want him, so they picked up Vince Dunn. I think Ron Francis did a great job, man. He not as good as Vegas the first year, but he did a good job putting this team together. It took 2 years to get into the playoffs, and they beat the defending champs, like Game 7, and that's impressive, man. Your first year in the playoffs, you knock those guys out. That's huge. So they're going to be a good team, but jumping back to the Blues, honestly, who's your best defenseman now? Is it Colton Parayko, or is it they got that kid from Boston? I forget his name. I forgot. I'm blanking. But anyway, I think the Blues are going to start, falling behind and falling down in the standings, and eventually we're going to pass them.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that the Blues are headed in the right direction as an organization?
You know what? Their GM is one of the best still. This guy, he doesn't sign ridiculous contracts. He takes care of his homegrown guys. I think they needed a change. Ryan O'Reilly was a good captain for them. He got them their cup. It's just, Craig Berube is a good coach. I just think that they had to move on from Tarasenko. I think that was the right thing to do. It sucks, but you know what? They got that Jordan Kyrou, who's going to be a good player. He could be their next guy. The thing now is Jordan Binnington, dude. He had a weird season. He was struggling big time, and it seemed like he was making a lot of the news just with his head case antics and going after guys and starting trouble with dudes on the bench. I think they gotta get him under control. He's too emotional, and he's not stopping the puck. That's his job, and I think Craig Berube was saying, I need my goalie just to be a goalie. I don't need him to be an enforcer from the 70s or so, whatever he said. But I think they need to get him. Honestly, I think they need to get him some help. Like, hey, let's get your focus back because, dude, you won the Stanley Cup with us, and you were a really solid goalie. You were a big part of that. I think they have to get him back at that level if they want to make some noise again.
Well, as I mentioned before, we've got from Daily Dose, All Hockey Culture, the NYR Fanatics, and the Mug NHL. They put out their top 10 ranking of the Demon and NHL. Daily Dose has Cale Makar as number 1, Adam Fox, Charlie McAvoy, Roman Josi, Victor Hedman, Rasmus Dahlin, Miro Heiskanen, Jacob Slavin, Quinn Hughes, and Erik Karlsson. A lot of offense there.
Boo.
So you don't like that list?
Any list with Karlsson, I'm not going to take you serious as if you're ranking defenseman. And you leave out.
Well, he did just win the Norris Trophy. I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Congrats. You won a trophy about stats, not defense.
Sure.
I think even a guy like we were just talking about, Vince Dunn deserves to be on that list before Erik Karlsson. His plus minus is, obviously he's could put up good numbers, but he prevents goals. That's the job of a defenseman. And you're missing guys like Sergachev. And even Alex Pietrangelo is still a good defenseman. He's older, but Drew Doughty, you're missing some pretty good solid defensemen. And it's just the league and all like these guys that are ranking these guys. It's just seems like it's all offense, and it's kind of sad. I miss the old school stay-at-home defenseman that used to be like a fan favorite. Sure. I'm not a Chelios fan, but that dude could prevent a lot of goals. He'd block shots. He'd fight you. He'd put up a lot of points, and he played the position correctly.
Yeah, having Quinn Hughes so low on there, man, is kind of questionable for me too. And Hedman as well. I'd have Hedman at least number 3. I'd probably have Quinn Hughes at maybe number 6, number 7, dude. Quinn Hughes has gotten better. He used to be somewhat of a liability on the defensive side, but I would probably say the last couple of years he has really improved on defense.
Oh yeah,
and
Tortorella used to say, dude, you need at least 400 games in the NHL as a defenseman to start to learn and change. He said that Zach. We're forgetting about Zach Werenski. He's another Torts guy from Columbus. Yeah. That guy's going to be a solid defenseman too. He's been kind of having the injury bug, but him and Seth Jones were together. They were a good defensive pair for a while. Yeah. And these guys they need games played. Quinn Hughes is going to be a top 10 for the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. We've got from All Hockey Culture, Cale Makar, Adam Fox, Charlie McAvoy, Rasmus Dahlin, Miro Heiskanen, Jacob Slavin, Quinn Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, Roman Josi, and Devin Taves.
Well, I like that Devin Taves is getting some recognition, and even Slavin. All the Canes fans, they hate like their guys never get the publicity like the other guys. This kid's a good defenseman, Slavin.
Yeah,
really
he is.
Good defenseman. He really is. And Devin Taves is not going to get the same attention when he's got to share a freaking uniform with Cale Makar.
Yeah.
But he was just as good that year they won the cup. He had the best plus minus in the league. I think he was at like 40 something, which is unheard of. And I think that's cool that they put him in the top 10. Dougie Hamilton, last year, man, he earned it. Yeah, I mean, I'm
He
not
did.
a fan. I know we always kind of razz him a little bit, but he put up some good numbers and he had a good plus minus. He got that team back in the playoffs, and he seems like he's a leader on that team. So, yeah, I think he deserves to be on that list too.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, Dougie Hamilton is he's usually pretty average on defense, but he's really good at creating offense, man. And you know what? Teams do need that. They do need a defenseman out there to be creating offense. I think the problem that we have now is that the line is somewhat blurred now between, it seems like, defensemen and wingers, because you've got some wingers out there, man, that are playing excellent two-way hockey, and you've got some defensemen out there that are kind of out there playing the wing a little bit, kind of like Erik Karlsson obviously does. You know, Quinn Hughes is very good offensively. Hedman is like a jack of all trades. Roman Josi, Cale Makar, Adam Fox. You know, a lot of these guys are very good offensively, and there really isn't, at least on the list so far, there hasn't really been anybody on the list that is really strictly defensively a defenseman.
Maybe Devin Taves is probably the closest. Well, you know what, man?
Yeah.
If you got Cale Makar doing his thing, skating around everybody, you need a guy to be back. And that's Devin Taves. He's the guy that's back and covering his ass if something goes wrong. And I mean, you got guys like Adam Fox. I think honestly, this New York list I'm looking at, I was surprised they didn't put Jacob Trouba on the list, because they're so biased with they put Adam Fox before Makar. Come on, man.
Yeah,
he's good, but you need a guy. You need a Brent
I'm
Seabrook.
surprised they didn't put the Redman on there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, as a defenseman, yeah. Keandre Miller. Oh, he was an all-star last year. He's top 10 now. Okay.
Yeah.
Shesterkin, too. They're so ridiculous at times. But I was saying, like, you know, Duncan Keith needed his Brent Seabrook to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need that good partner. And even in the Ottawa days, Erik Karlsson had, I think it was Mark Mathot, who was a very good defenseman, and he covered his ass tons of times. So I'd say Devin Taves is probably the most stay-at-home mentality guy on this list for sure.
The NY list is, of course, Adam Fox, number one, then Cale Makar, Rasmus Dahlin, Charlie McAvoy, Mira Heiskanen, Quinn Hughes, Jacob Slavin, Roman Josi, Devin Taves, and Dougie Hamilton. That comes in last.
No Victor Hedman, huh? All those
no
times
Victor Hedman
getting eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't deserve it. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, man. It is. Because that is some hate right there. He's not even in the top 10
goalie list. You know Vasilevsky wouldn't be on the list either. That's how ridiculous that.
They'd probably put Shesterkin and Georgiev just as honorable mention.
Yeah. Well, Georgiev is now with the Avalanche.
Yeah, he is. That's why they would, even though they'd put him on there.
The connection, put him in.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And the Mug NHL has Cale Makar, number one, Adam Fox, Roman Josi, Charlie McAvoy, Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Jacob Slavin, Quinn Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, and Devin Taves. A lot of these they've had Slavin, Hughes, Hamilton, and Taves kind of in the same positions at the end. You mentioned it earlier to me that you don't think Roman Josi, you think he's kind of falling off a bit. Maybe he just had a down year last year, man. You know?
The team gets worse every year. They don't get better.
Yeah, it does.
They get older, and I feel like that's what they did with Shea Weber. I mean, they just kind of burnt him out.
Yeah.
Then they ended up trading him for PK Subban that year, and they get these really good guys, and it's like they ask so much from, like, even Pecorine, man, very good goalie, and they just the poor dude was just burnt out.
Yeah.
And that never gave him that supporting cast that they needed. And don't get me wrong, he's a very good defenseman. He probably had an off year, and it happens.
One thing that's questionable here, man, and you mentioned Sergachev earlier, no Mo Seider on there.
Yep, no Mo Seider, no Sergachev, even no Vince Dunn on any of these.
Yeah.
And very solid guys, man.
Some of your favorites, I know Doughty's not on there. Is
Doughty's
he still
stud,
at
dude.
the level? Is he still at the same level that he used to be?
Of course
I
not.
don't think so.
No.
But I think that he is still. I think I would put him in the top 10.
So my top 10 would probably be, obviously, my number 2 guy is going to be Hedman, and he's going to be before Fox, so all the Ranger fans could cry. But Makar's obviously number 1. My number 4 guy, I think it would be. You know what? Dahlin seems to be like everyone's top 5 guy. I don't see much of him. I know he puts up really good numbers. I think he had 73 points last year. And that's impressive. He was a plus 12 on a Buffalo team. That's kind of like on the fence. Like, we kind of want to make the playoffs, but we kind of don't. It's tough. I don't think Yossi's on my list. I think Brent Burns is on my list. Okay. I mean, he's older and he's still putting up. I think he put up 60 points last year. He's a plus 20 or something. And he's a blocking machine. He was a stud in the playoffs too, man. He was 3 points a night, getting that team over the hump. There's a lot of good guys that they left off. And Sergachev was the top 24 guy. Or no, I'm sorry, number 28. And Drew Doughty was 34th, but he's still a good defenseman, man. I just don't. Just because Carlson, was he like on one list or was he on 2 lists? I can't remember.
Just one.
Yeah, and that guy won the Norris, and he was barely on the top 10. He just had a good, and the pucks were going in for him, and the guys.
Yeah, the pucks going in for him. That's all that it is.
I mean, it wasn't defense at all.
Let me see. I'm going to take a stab at it. I think that I would take. I still think that Victor Hedman is a top defenseman in this league, man. I think that he's somebody that you can build your team around. I think he's got leadership.
Just tired.
He's just tired.
Yeah,
I would take him number 1. You got Cale Makar coming in next, and then Adam Fox. I think Adam Fox. I was looking to see how he would be in his sophomore season after his. After his Norris win. Yeah. And you know what, man? He played very well. He's a contributor on that team. He is a
good passer.
He could be a disruptor. He's a great passer. He moves the puck very well, skates well. He doesn't get caught pinching in like some defensemen did, like Erik Karlsson. He doesn't get caught pinching in very often. I think that he's a great defenseman. I know we give the New York guys a hard time, so there you go.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Chris Letang is still a top 10 guy?
No.
36 years old. He had he had some health issues last year. He still put in 41 points on a team that's kind of on the. I guess they're on the change. They're going to be figuring out real soon what happens with Sid and Malkin and Letang. But I still think Letang has been a solid defenseman. Maybe I still think he's still better than Erik Karlsson. Playing defense.
I think he's better than Erik Karlsson. Yeah. My only thing is that I know the guy can't suit up for a majority of the season.
Yeah, I hope he's doing better. He had that stroke, and I think he won the award for I think was it the Masterton Award or something. But yeah, he's what, dude, he's a good player. Maybe not a top 10, maybe a top 20 still.
Yeah,
but I
don't
still
think he's a top 10.
He's a good defenseman, and he's been a warrior for the Penguins.
Right.
But man, there's some really good, like Brent Burns. I still, like, 38 years old, man. He put in freaking 61 points last year. 18 goals.
Wow.
That's more than Kurashev did, and he plays forward. So it's crazy, man. I would have had him in my top 10 after last year for sure. In his little playoff run too, he was pretty solid too.
I'm gonna go Hughes at number 5. I'll put Slavin in after that. Dahlin, because he's an offensive machine, and then I'll give you Doughty.
Yeah.
And then for my last spot, I'm gonna put it in Mo.
Yeah, I think Mo is gonna be that guy. You just got to give him. He's gonna have a better supporting cast. He's gonna get bigger, stronger, mature a little bit. Definitely a top 10 for me too. I really loved watching him in his rookie year. He was awesome. Yeah. His hits. you don't see a kid like doing that right away. This guy doesn't. What was the videos? Mo Sider doesn't give a shit who you are. He was going after all the stars and stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, he stood up. Like you said, he stood up Connor.
Yeah.
Actually, he defends him pretty well, which not many people can do.
I think
actually the only people.
Cale Makar is the one who could keep up with him.
Yeah, I think those are really the only two guys that I've seen have be consistently effective against Connor McDavid is Mo Sider and Cale Makar. And off of that alone is why Mo is on my list. I think he moves the puck well, man. He hits guys. He's responsible defensively, and he can chip in on offense if he needs to. I think he's a great player. Too bad we couldn't get him.
Who we weren't really talking about much? Morgan Riley.
Oh yeah,
from Toronto. He's one of their
a top guy.
Guys. Yeah, and I'm looking at the stats right now, man. I can't find him on here on the top 50. I think.
Wow.
Very solid player. I know. What's his name? Connor McDavid just makes him look stupid in a lot of videos, and this year, man, he only had 41 points, and he was a -9.
Wow.
4 goals only, 37 assists. That's not like him because the years before, dude, he had 68 points the year before in 2022. And then 2021, it was 35 points in 55 games. But, man, it was a weird COVID season. But even before, his career high is 72. So 20 goals, too. So he could put the puck in the net. But, he's just, Toronto's had their issues. But I thought he's a pretty solid defense. Maybe not a top 10, but he's up there.
Man. So that's all that I got, man. You got anything else?
No, we should do this again next week. We should do top 10 goalies, Mike and Matt's, and then compare.
Okay.
Them.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
that sounds good. And then we'll do wingers after that.
No New York goalies though. Please.
No New York goalies. We can't do that.
Goalies. No, they're going to be 2 top 5 guys.
Yeah. Shesterkin is. I think he's a top 3 goalie in the league, man.
He is. It's just all the hype. He's got to do something.
Right.
He's got to get over that hump.
Well, cool, everybody. Thank you for listening. We're very appreciative. If you have anything you want us to talk about, hit us up on Twitter at Shy Tomahawk, and we'll feature it on the show. Be sure to use our code Shy Tomahawk at Liquid IV for 15% off, and use our code THPN on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's all that we got for you. We'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.